Are you curious about long arm quilting machines? Are you confused about the many different features, styles, and sizes of machines available today? If this sounds interesting to you, please subscribe to my channel as I come out with a new quilting video every week. Hello my quilting friends! My name is Leah Day and I am a long arm and sewing machine dealer and online quilting teacher. And I love helping quilters find the perfect quilting system to help you be able to stitch the quilts that you want to make and also to fit your budget and your space. These are three very, very important things when it comes to finding the right quilting machine and frame. So we're going to focus on long arm quilting machines today. We're going to talk about the two most important factors when it comes to purchasing this machine. Two things that absolutely cannot change. You cannot expand it or upgrade it or change these aspects of the long arm. And they are the most important things to think about whenever you are making this purchase. So the first feature to pay attention to is the size of your long arm. Yes, the size is a big deal. It is much more important to think about how long the long arm is than any other feature because this is something that cannot change. I have a 19-inch machine here. It cannot become a 21-inch machine. There is no way to expand it. Once you buy a machine at a particular size, that's it, and it's never going to grow any bigger. Why is this so important? The size of your long arm determines how much quilting space you will have on your frame. So you can see as I roll it forward, the back rail will hit the motor here on my machine. My needle is about right there. When I roll it the other way, taking the needle back, the back of my foot hits that back rail, and that is the distance that I can quilt on this frame with this machine. Now, 19-inch long arm actually gives you a lot of space. I call these my TARDIS machines because it just seems like so much quilting space for the size of the long arm. It really is magical. So you can see I can definitely quilt. There's a 12-inch ruler. I can definitely quilt that 12-inch block. Really, I've got 15, 16 inches with this machine on this frame. And I have got a little bit of quilt built up here on the back of my rail. As your quilt rolls up on the frame, that's gonna get fatter and fatter. This area will get bigger and bigger. That can limit your space too. So understand you might begin quilting a quilt at the very, very top of the quilt and have 16 inches of quilting space vertically from rail to rail. By the time you get to the bottom, you might have only 15 inches of quilting space. That's because your quilt has built up here. So understand that the size of your long arm directly impacts how much quilting space you have on your frame. Now, that being said, you can quilt any size of quilt. So I could put a king size quilt here on my Evolution hoop frame, and I could be able to quilt it just fine on a Qnique 19, a Qnique 16, or even a little Rebel. I could put any of those machines on this frame and be able to quilt it just fine. The difference becomes in how many times I'm going to have to advance the quilt through the frame. So I stitch this section and I advance the quilt forward. I stitch that section, I advance the quilt forward. This is very much like rehooping when it comes to embroidery. Think of it that way. How many times do you want to rehoop your quilt? On a hoop frame, that's definitely something to ask yourself. The more space that you have in your long arm, the less you're going to have to advance and rehoop your quilt in order to get the entire project done. Another thing is creativity. This is a quilt I recently found on eBay and I absolutely love it, but it's a great example of how you can quilt creatively with a bigger long arm. I'm not saying that you can't quilt creatively on a smaller long arm, but understand if you want to use something like QCT and I want to be able to quilt the entire block in one pass, well, this is a 12-inch ruler. You can see I can quilt that entire leaf shape in one pass using this machine. Whereas I know I cannot quilt a 12-inch block on a Qnique 16 or 15 long arm. So understand, if you want to be able to stitch a 12-inch quilt block in one pass, you're going to need to go with at least a 19-inch long arm or bigger. Now, the second most important feature when it comes to purchasing a long arm quilting machine is the speed it can stitch. And this is usually reported as stitches per minute. And it refers to how fast you can move the machine on your frame without stripping out the stitch regulator, meaning that you can move nice and fast and the stitch regulator will keep up with you. It'll keep the needle bouncing up and down in time with your movement. So this speed comes into play when you are a really comfortable quilter. Let's say you've done a lot of practice with stippling and you can just rock and roll that long arm around and be able to get it all around, make that design quickly, stitch from edge to edge across your frame, advance it fast. You are knocking it out of the ballpark. Well, your stitch speed, stitches per minute, is going to be determining how fast you can move that long arm and still get beautiful, consistent stitches. On a long arm machine, you're going to have a stitch regulator, and it's built into the long arm, and it's how the long arm works on a frame. So the encoders read how fast you're moving the machine, and they are telling the machine how fast to stitch. So if you go too fast, based on the machine's limited stitches per minute, then your stitches are going to start getting bigger. And this is the whole reason why quilters buy long arm quilting machines. We want beautiful, consistent stitches. We want the machine to keep up with us. And this is why it's so important to pay attention to that number. I hear a lot of quilters that'll say, well, what's the difference between that machine and another, other than it's 19 inches long and it goes a little faster? And I always have to answer back and say, those are two very, very important things. That is like the most important thing ever, because you can't change the length and you can't change the speed. So a fast speed for a long arm for kind of a beginner level would be around 2,000 stitches per minute. The Qnique 19X Elite, the 21X Elite, both of those stitch 2,600 stitches per minute. And I have never reached a point where I've gone faster than these machines, meaning I can stitch stippling really, really fast, but I have never reached a point where I felt like the long arm was limiting my speed, that I had to slow down for it, versus when I was quilting on the Qnique 14 Plus or 15R, that machine did not go fast enough for me, and that was a major reason why I ended up upgrading. So the reason why I share all of this is that I really want to help quilters find a quilting system that will make you happy today, but will also keep growing with you as a quilter. So definitely think about the quilting that you're doing right now, what you want to get into, and where you want to grow. And this is the last bonus tip. Pay attention to the accessories that your company is offering. Grace Company offers a wide variety of feet. If we want to do ruler quilting, we got a ruler foot, ruler base, and rulers. If you want to do pantograph quilting, we've got rear handlebars, laser lights. I offer pantographs from my website, so you can get started with that too. And automation, Quilters Creative Touch 6, quilting automation to do some computerized quilting and really have some fun with creative long arm quilting. So understand that this is such a big decision to make, and it's really something that takes time, learning more about it, educating yourself on all of the different terminology, and understanding what are going to be the limiting factors on your long arm quilting machine. You can't change the size, you can't change the speed. Your quilting company may come out with more accessories in the future, but I honestly think that it's really nice to have some accessories just to start out with. I love using Quilters Creative Touch, and this is now very affordable computerized quilting automation because we have new very, very baseline tier of QCT6 just to get you started doing edge-to-edge pantographs, and then you can upgrade and expand to multiple levels of software and do more creative things with your quilting. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, thumbs up, ask your questions in the comments below. I'm here to help you learn more about long arm quilting. And of course, if you're interested in a Qnique long arm quilting machine, you can come and find them on my website, leahday.com/longarm. Until next time, let's go quilt.